niche markets, underserved segments, or specific agency needs that are not being met by other carriers, and providing the best coverages we can at a price point that hopefully keeps the agent in line with the competition. We consider ourselves able to be flexible, we consider ourselves outside the box thinkers, and we do our best to partner with our agents on servicing this kind of underserved business. It has been a proven part of our long-term strategy. It's been a successful way for us to develop relationships with our agents. And the underserved marketplace is really where we see the most opportunity for us to grow along with our agents. It's an area we're always looking at, along with our strong book of existing habitational business, lesser's risk, mixed MERC, Main Street type business, etc. So that was a really quick overview. I see we have some agents on the line who utilize us regularly as a go-to market, and others who may not be so familiar with us, so hopefully that was somewhat helpful. Now let's get to SOAR, which actually stands for Serving Our Agents Responsibly. I'm sure a lot of you are rolling your eyes, oh, another acronym, but that one was an acronym that was referenced regularly throughout the development process of the new system, because a lot of the system benefits were designed with the agent, you guys, and ease of doing business in mind. So Jenny's going to cover today's agenda and then take us to the actual SOAR production environment for the webinar.
Today we'll be going over the navigation of the system, entering a quote, the application process, printing quote letters and application forms, submitting items to your underwriter for review, generating endorsement requests, making online policy payments, and submitting a loss. So let's get ready to SOAR. I do want to mention that we are recording this, so you will receive a copy in your email of this particular presentation. So when you log in, you'll need to go to the Lebanon Valley website at www.lebins.com. We have a new website, so we're excited to share this with you. And when you go in, you'll need to go into your agent login area.
And if anybody's getting cache and seeing the old website when they go to lebins.com, just let your underwriter know and we'll have IT fix the cache for you.
When you enter here, you have two options. Keep in mind that SOAR currently is only for our dwelling fire product. New business can be written effective 10/15, so after we get off the phone today, you are more than welcome to go in with your new password. You all should have the same username. You should have gotten an email from Jason Ficken at TW. He sent those out the other day, so you should be able to log in with your username and password and get ready to SOAR. The other link sends you to your other agency portal where you can log into the other systems to access the other products that you have. When you log in, you'll land on the front page of the system. You can see mine says Tuscarora Wayne. That's because that's where I work for, but yours should say Lebanon Valley. So once you get in here, you can enter your username and your password, but let's say you want to change your password, you're more than welcome to. You can enter in your username, your old password, your new password, and confirm your new password. Or if you're like me and have 9 million passwords, you forget your password, but if you remember your username, you're more than welcome to type in your username, and it will send you a temporary password to your email that's on file with us. If you do not receive an email, your email may be incorrect, and at that point you would need to contact your agency administrator, all of which have been trained to be able to change your email addresses for your user. So with that, I'm going to actually change areas just so that I can, so that I can enter in to the system. Sorry. I'm going to enter in as an agent today. So in in this, you can see that we enter into the system every day in our inbox. So when we're in our inbox, these are the tasks that we receive or that we see in our inbox. And you'll see that we have some that are here for us today. But we're going to go and look at where you can find quotes and policies. So if you've been working on a quote or a policy recently, you can go look in your recent list, and you'll be able to see the recent items that you've worked on, and then you can return home if you want. You can also see news if we've published any news for you. This could include moratoriums or underwriting news or other announcements that LVI may want to share with you.
Jenny, we have a question from an agent,
Sure.
whether or not all employees in an agency have the same username and password. Cindy, my understanding is that you have all received an email from Jason and it should be different. Is that correct, Jenny? Different usernames and passwords for all users?
They should be set up similar to how they're currently set up. I know that there was one agency, I believe, that did have the same username and password for all of the producers, but typically every user should have their own unique password. The only thing that you will share is the tasks. So every producing agency, the tasks all come in through that. So you'll all be able to see any task that comes in through any user so that you all have the opportunity to see them. Are there any other questions?
Not at this time.
Okay, so you can search for a quote or a policy in a various number of ways. You can go up here and click on quote, and you can look for quote policy. You can do a new customer and a new quote. But if you're looking for someone, you can search for them. You can search by name, tax ID, contact number, various items. And you can also search by name. You can search whether it starts with something, contains something, or equals something. And then also you have a max number of hits. So if you're looking for like a specific thing, maybe you only want to go with 10. If you're looking for something that may be more common, like Smith or something that starts with an S, maybe you need to expand your search a little bit. The next area, you can create a new customer. This is where you can add what type of entity this is, whether it's a partnership or an individual. You can then fill out all of their information, and once you do, you can save and start a new quote. You'll notice that there are asterisks next to certain things. This means that this is a required field. I'm going to go ahead and go home and start a quote. The way that I kind of feel more comfortable rather than starting up here in the customer area, but you're welcome to start here. Just remember that in the system it was developed so that many different users could use it at their own comfort level. So some people are more comfortable adding stuff in at the customer level, and some people just want to start a new quote. So we'll go ahead and start a new quote. We'll make the effective date today. We'll go ahead and select our state. We'll go ahead and select our company. Pardon me. Here you'll actually see that this particular testing area has more products. So for now, you'll only get to see the dwelling fire product, but you'll get to see that we are working on quite a few additional products that we're getting ready to introduce to you. So here you can start to fill in the information as well. You'll notice that it will pre-fill certain things for you. You'll notice that I am going to fill out the date of birth right now, but that is not a required field until you get into the application phase. You'll know that you're in certain phases due to the area over here called a summary. You'll see that you're in quote. You have action items over on the left where you can save, you can create the application, you can close it. If you close out a quote or close out an application, currently they are just closed and you would have to start a new application. Are there any questions?
We do currently have a few questions if you're ready.
Sure,
We
go
have
ahead.
one question: can we bridge from real time?
Meaning that like an agency download
I
or an
honestly
actual
am
like bridging?
I am not
Can
100%
you
sure
write
what
down
that
the
means.
person who asked that? I, there are different systems that do different things. We currently do not have agency download available for this particular product as of right now, but this is something that we will launch and introduce in the next couple of months for you. So just know that we're working on that. As far as a bridge, I do not believe that's something that we currently do.
Clarified from an agency management system. So no, this will not link up to like an Easy Rater or PL Rater or anything like that, but eventually we will have the ability to do download for Dwelling Fire. Hopefully that answers your question, Nick. All right. Do we have access to LVI and TW from here? This is a question from a crossover agent, which not all of you on the line have contracts with both LVI and TW. So the answer to that is no. You will have to log in separately for LVI and TW. Correct, Jenny?
That's correct. I also
Okay.
received a message from our Chief Information Officer. He did say that upload from agency management systems is not planned at this time. You will notice that when I was entering in the address that I did have to hit the little house with the magnifying glass. This house with the magnifying glass just verifies addresses, and it goes through the USPS system so that it can verify an address. Are there additional questions?
When will
Jenna?
homeowners be available? That's from another one of the agents, which that homeowner line is built right now. It is ready for user acceptance testing, so we have to test it internally, make sure everything's rating and functioning correctly, and then we have to file with the department. So we're thinking that between March and June of next year, we're going to hopefully be rolling out with a couple more lines all at once, but homeowners should be available around that time frame for us. So hang tight. Right now we're just looking at Dwelling Fire. Oh, somebody's asking if we could answer all the questions at the end, please. All right. Go ahead, Jenny.
Okay, sure. So what we did was enter the address and then we verified the address. And then you'll notice that there are not asterisks that are here, so we do not need to fill out this information. We'll go ahead and hit save. You'll notice that it gives you information at the top. These are just warnings. These tell us that, I call them stop signs. They tell us that we need to stop and do something, or it won't let us continue through like to do certain things like within the quote. So you can continue in a number of ways. You can either click the link here, you can go up to the underwriting tab and click on the underwriting tab to go next, or you can go to the next page. When you're at the next page, you'll go ahead and fill out your underwriting questions. And we'll go ahead and hit save. I save a lot. It's just a habit that I always get into. So this next page takes us to the risk page. This is where you'll enter your dwelling information. This is telling us that all required fields have not been entered, but that's okay. We're going to go ahead and help it out by entering in the fields. When we go to this, we can either add a location or we can work on the current location that we have. The location that we have will bring us up to the very first location that we entered in of the 946 Hamilton. So let's say, for example, we have an address that is in a rural area, and we do the search for this particular address. Oh, and it tells us that it couldn't match the address. So in order for us to do this, we're going to go ahead and hit OK. So we're aware that it can't find the address, but we're 100% sure that this address is correct. So we're going to go ahead and click on the button that says unverified UPS or USPS address is acknowledged, because we want to acknowledge that, yes, we understand that that's a different address. And then we're going to copy the address down because we want to say, yep, we understand that that's not going to be like the correct address, that you can't find it in the USPS. So then you can change the county if it happens to lie in an area where you have locations that kind of border on certain counties. You may run into that, and you're welcome to change that based upon your acknowledgement of that. This area is where you're going to choose your fire protection. You'll notice that we have options of protected, partially protected, and unprotected. This may be a little different because this particular product is an AAIS product, not an ISO product, so just so that you have an awareness that there may be some differences. In here, you also will need to select your form type. You can select basic, broad, or special. And then if you select basic, you would need to either include extended coverage or include extended coverage in vandalism and malicious mischief. So we'll go ahead and include both, and we'll go ahead and save. It will tell us that there's some missing required information. Oh, the township. We forgot to get our territory. We'll go ahead and save. Oh. And we'll return to risks. You'll notice that when you are in a certain area that you may need to go up to your right-hand corner to return to things. So we're going to go ahead and change some items in our risk. This is where you enter in all of your dwelling-specific information. And you'll notice that this all isn't in one section, similar to how like homeowners would be, because in dwelling fire you are able to have more than one location in on the policy. So we'll go ahead and fill in the required information. This one we're going to make a tenant occupied area. Now, if you select deductible and you also select wind hail deductible, you must select a deductible that is higher than your all peril deductible. You actually do not have to select a wind hail deductible if you do not prefer to have a separate wind hail deductible. If you leave it at select, this will just leave it as no additional or separate wind hail deductible. In basic form, you'll notice that there are no included coverages in here, so if they would like to have items added, then you can go ahead and add based upon what the insured's needs are. You'll notice that we have options for preferred inflation guard, some other additional coverages, as well as protective safeguards. And if you need any of these, please feel free to add them. However, they are not required. I'm going to go ahead and hit save again. You'll notice that once I've fixed everything that the system gives me a stop sign for, that the stop sign goes away. You do have the ability to enter E2 value. So you can go get a valuation for the home. Because this is a tenant-occupied home, you'll notice that there are a lot of coverages underneath this coverage list. And in order to find your liability for tenant-occupied homes, you're going to need to look in this coverage list. So in here, we're going to go ahead and add our premises liability. If there are no incidental occupancies, please hit 0. We will also need to add MedPay. Even though $1,000 of MedPay is included, you actually do have to select this so that it will print out on the declaration page for you. If you want, you can also increase it up to $5,000. You'll see that we've added these. You'll see that we have premium amounts. When you have a premium amount, that means that you have a quote. This is a quote that's based upon the information that you've submitted, based upon the information that we have. This doesn't include anything that the underwriter might see or any valuation changes that may need to happen, but you do have a valid quote. One item that I want to mention is if you happen to have an owner-occupied dwelling fire item, there is a coverage that you have to add if you select liability. You will have to add this liability residence class code. You would add it here. You would select add items, and then you would select the initial residence unless you had other items in this area. But you would need to select the initial residence first. I'm going to go ahead and go back and show you where you would add personal liability if you happen to have an owner-occupied dwelling fire risk. So I'm going to return to risk. You'll see again, once again, up in the right-hand corner that we have some navigation buttons for you. In the risk page, on the very front page, you'll see that you have coverage L, coverage M, and personal injury. These are all personal liability. They are on this particular page because this goes over the entire policy, while the other locations have their own specific liability limits because it is a premises liability option. So at this point, we have a quote. So if you want a quote letter, you can go ahead and go to the tab at the top next to quote. You can go to correspondence. I don't know why my computer is taking so long, but you can go to correspondence and it will populate a drop-down box for you, and when it does that, it will let you create a quote letter. Well, every now and then it will do that to you. At least my computer does, but I work on a wireless network, so maybe mine has something to do with that. But this is in our recent list. That will give me an opportunity to show you that. So let's see if I can go back to correspondence. It gives me a drop down and I can go ahead and print my quote letter. I can add it. When I add it, it will ask me what I want to do with it, and I'm going to go ahead and process it. When it processes, it will populate the quote letter for us, so you'll have a quote letter that is able to be presented to your insured. Once you have presented the quote and you're ready to create an application, you'll need to go to your action items over on the left. You can create an application. It will tell you that you must enter the privacy statement to continue. You can click on Fix. You will need to click Yes. This particular notice is for when we are ordering clue and insurance score reporting. If you do click No, unfortunately, we will not be able to offer you a quote. I'm going to go ahead and hit Save. And then I'm going to go ahead and answer all of these questions really quick. Please know that because this system does follow the court application, that all of the court applications questions are asked on here. You can tell I filled out a lot of these. I have a lot of pre-filled information, so I'm just going through really quickly to answer these, and then we will get ready to submit our application. Also on here, there is a section, the next question, where it asks you for directions. You can just hit or place like GPS or map or something, but if it is a location that is a little harder to find and you're aware of that, kind of similar to what we talked about, the rural areas, you can give a more detailed description. We're going to go ahead and save. Now it's asking us for some payment information. When you go to the payment information, it does take you to this review tab. You can go ahead and fill in the payment that you want. Either you can have a statement, which is an invoice bill like mailed to the insured, or it can be set up as EFT. So we'll go ahead and put it as a statement. And let's say that it also asks you to choose the day of the month, sorry. It also asks you to select the day of the month, and we will go ahead and save that because it's asking us down here. Then what we are going to do is we are going to, I guess I must have turned this back into a quote. We are going to go ahead and finalize our transaction. When we finalize it, it will populate some information. I call these yellow squares my approval. Anything that's a yellow square with a checkbox does need to go to approval to your underwriter. We'll go ahead and ask for them to approve it, and we'll submit for approval. Oh, it's telling us that we missed something, so because of that we have another stop sign, so we'll just click on that link and it will send us back to where we need to be. We'll answer the additional questions that are there, and then we'll go ahead and finalize the transaction, and this time we'll really submit it to our underwriter. We're going to go ahead and submit for approval. When we do that in our recent list, we can see that it has been sent to our underwriter. There are underwriting groups assigned so that they can pick up their own tasks and they'll be able to communicate back and forth with you. So in order to save time, I'm not going to show you that particular process, but what I am going to show you is I'm going to show you that our underwriter approved one of our applications. So when they approve it, it will appear back in your mailbox. You will see it in here, and you will be able to work it. You can also transfer it, or you can view the details. If you transfer it, you can open that up, and it will show you some information, and this would be the user that you would want to transfer it to. If you need to, you can enter in the user's name in your office, and you can transfer this to them. We're going to go ahead and go back and we're going to work this. So once you have approval, you'll see that this was approved from your underwriter. You'll see that you are able to issue new business. So when you issue this, you will issue it based upon the information that was provided, based upon the effective date. Just know that if you do change the effective date, you are able to modify the application. However, if you modify it, it does have to go back through the approval process just in case anything else has changed. So today we're going to go ahead and issue our policy. You'll notice that it's processing all of the documents.
While they're processing, we did get two questions, which I am going to mention right now. One was, do all quotes have to be submitted for approval? And the other is, does the program provide underwriting edits for eligibility? Which these questions kind of go hand in hand. The underwriting questions that you saw are part of the underwriting edits for eligibility. So to answer the question, do all quotes have to be submitted for approval? No. Our agents do have authority to bind and issue certain dwelling fire policies up to $300,000 exposed. So that is something that is within your authority as agents. So there is some straight-through processing, quote, bind, order, issue. If it is kicked out for an edit for whatever reason, which was the little underwriting checks, the yellow boxes that Jenny was talking about, those are the ones that are going to be submitted. And Jenny, I think that it does identify why it's being submitted for that reason, correct?
Yes, it does, and I guess I should have read those off to you, but if you want, you can also see them in what is called a policy file. You'll be able to see the information, well, when it populates here, you'll be able to see why it was submitted. So all of these notes are kept and captured, so you'll be able to see what happens throughout the life of the policy in the policy file area.
So that should answer the questions. Not everything needs to be submitted for underwriting approval, and yes, there are built-in edits, thus all those questions that Jenny kind of skimmed through. Gosh, we have a couple other questions here. At what point do we run reports? So I'm assuming that that's CLUE, MBRs, etc.
Yes, we run those at the application phase. There was a little button up there that did say reports have been run. I apologize for speeding through that, but they are run at the application phase. Once you hit the button, yes, please order the reports, and you hit save or finalize the transaction, depending upon what you do, those reports are ordered.
Okay, can vacant homes be quoted in the system? Heather, yes they can. Vacant homes and dwellings are within our appetite. Vacant properties will always be an underwriter referral. So go in, fill out as much information as you have, answer the underwriting questions, and that will be a submit to underwriter for approval. So that one is an easy one to answer. And then we have, yes, properties will be inspected after coverage is bound. You're welcome, Heather. And one more good one, Jenny, can you go over the liability for both tenant and owner-occupied dwelling fire policies again? Barbara, don't feel bad about that question because during underwriter training, I think everybody was like, say what? So, Jenny, do you mind hitting that one more time for the agents?
Nope. I don't mind, but let me show them real quick where they can print an application just in case they needed one after they issue the policy, because sometimes we issue the policy and we forget to print off the application, but you can print off the application at the application phase as well. So in the correspondence tab, once again, you can go here and you can click here and you can add your ACORD application, and you can process this correspondence. Let me go back. In the Risks tab, I am going to go back and I'll explain the personal liability versus premises liability once again. In the Risk tab, you'll see that you have these options. Currently, they're blocked out because I did quote a tenant policy. If in your risk area you go in and it is an owner-occupied, you will see that these will appear again, but if I do this, it's going to give us a whole bunch of errors, but I can try it and see what it does. So when I go there, it will, oh, it didn't open it back up. I need to change something else. You'll also need to change an underwriting question about whether or not it is owner-occupied. So if I hit yes, it will show me these options. But you'll see it doesn't like what I have done because now I have conflicting things, but just to show you. So in here, the personal liability can be selected here in the risk area. Or for premises liability, it is actually within the risk itself, the dwelling itself, where this dwelling is located. This particular location, specific location, will have the commercial liability coverage for premises only. It's probably deemed commercial just because it is a rental home or a home that doesn't normally fit within the personal lines or within personal liability. So it is in the coverage list here. Did that answer their question? Most likely you'll
I
have the
believe
same question
so.
again, so you'll have that same
Yeah,
question again, so please don't feel bad, like, about
the first
asking
time
again.
you
You're
guys
more than
run
welcome
through
to.
these, the first time you guys run through a quote, you will probably run into either a question or a stop sign you can't get rid of, so don't hesitate to reach out. We do have some more questions. Some of these are guideline related. Jenny, I know that they were working on guidelines last week. Did they get the dwelling fire guidelines up onto SOAR for the agents yet, or is that still something that's to be done this week?
I do not know the answer. I will have to get back to them.
Yes, guidelines are available.
Yes.
All right. Dan, do you happen to know where they are? We'll give him a second to respond. We also have questions on whether or not pictures are required. I do not believe that it's going to require pictures for everything. They're on the home page of the LVIC agency portal, I think. Kind of cut off there. So they are available. After logging into SOAR, click Home.
So my particular user may not have all of that information, so it would most likely be in your news area.
It's in the production environment. Okay, so we're in the test environment. That's why we're not seeing it, but it should be available on your home page when you guys actually log in. Okay, let's see. We have other coverages.
Let me go back to the
Go ahead.
person that asked about photos real quick, just to show them. In the policy file, if you do happen to have photos in your actions item, you can add an attachment. So you're welcome to go in and add an attachment. You'll select the type, like whether it's a photo, you can select it and then add it.
But to answer that question, Karen, if it goes straight through to issue, that means that it's something that's within your authority to issue and photos will not be required. If it goes to an underwriter and they request photos, that's going to be on a case-by-case basis. So hopefully that answers your question. Let's see here. Here's one for you, Jenny. Does claim info from a clue report get entered and uploaded automatically to the application, or do the agents have to manually enter claim info?
You can, Clue will automatically do it, and it will automatically take it in there. Let me see if I can get this one. Oh, maybe it's because it has an error, but once the reports are run, it will populate the clue information in this loss history tab. If you know that there is a loss and there is no information in this, you can go to the loss history tab and you can add losses in the loss history. Let me go back to the policy real quick. When you're in here, like I said, the policy file will kind of be the life of the policy and what has happened in here. And in here, you can print off the new business package for your insured. You can view the deck pages. You can see all of the forms that are contained in that. So anytime you're looking for a document that's been printed or something that should be in the file, you can go into policy file and look for those items in there. Another feature that you can do is make a payment. So once you have a policy, you are able to make a payment. You can select a payment type. If you pay with your ACH trust account, this would be your agency sweep account. You are welcome to do that. We also accept credit card payments as well. However, I think that our home office staff, like if you did call in, I think that they can only accept credit card payments, but they could not accept an ACH payment over the phone. But we encourage you to use SOAR in order to submit your payments through. Were there any other questions, Jenna? Because I'm going to go into a support feature that we have and then also into claims. Are there any other questions revolving around quote, policy, application?
We do. We actually have two questions that are still clue claim info. Would it reject or stop the quote if claim info? Okay, so that's more of a system one. I have two coverage questions, but I'm not sure. It is possible. Okay.
Yes, it depends upon the amount of the loss. So yes, there are eligibility items that go through, and it may not stop the quote from going through. It may require your underwriter to review it for the underwriter approval process.
Okay, another question is trust account agency sweep. That is a yes, correct?
Yes, that is a yes. We are able to make agency sweep payments.
And Dan wants us to review the billing options anyway. We do have 2 coverage questions out here for vacant dwellings. Can we add vandalism? That is something that I'll have to check on for you, Jackie, so I will ask and get back to you. And Roberta's asking if sinkhole coverage is available. That might be an easier one. Jenny, do you know if there's anywhere to add sinkhole coverage on the dwelling fire line?
For a mine subsidence type of thing, or just sinkhole?
Sinkhole collapse, yeah.
Jenna, I think I'm going to refer back to you that maybe we need to go look into that.
Okay, I'll email Carla
in the coverage list.
Okay, we'll get back to you too on those 2 questions. Good questions, though. We will let the group know.
Okay, back to make a payment. That we wanted to review this is that we had the ability to have an ACH payment, an ACH trust account, which is your agency trust account. So this would be agency sweep or a credit card payment. We can also see the statement and the fees. We can look at these items here. We'll go ahead, after you enter in all of your payment information, it will spread it across, like if there are any fees due, it would spread it across that and then go ahead and submit the payment. A feature that we have that we're super excited and proud of is our support feature. A lot of you guys will probably use this at first. The little orange button in the side that says support, you will open it up and it will allow you to co-browse with your underwriter. So your underwriter will be able to hop on the computer, they'll go to a site called Firefly, they'll ask you for your co-browser session code, and when you give them that code, they'll be able to link with you on the screen and walk through the screen with you so that they can see what it is that you're doing so they can help guide you through. And you'll notice if you stop it, the support comes back. If you need them again, please feel free to click support. But know that you have to call your underwriter, and then they'll probably have you click support. If you just click support and sit and wait, unfortunately, I don't believe anyone will call you back. But please make sure that you utilize this function. It's a great feature. It's a good way to keep in touch with your underwriter, and especially if you need to walk through something else, it's a great way to do things. The next thing that you can do is you can report a loss. You can tell us that it's a new claim. We'll have it submitted. Oh, I don't think this claim is going to let me do that because I have a future effective date. But you would go ahead and enter your loss date. It's going to give me an error when I come in here, though, because it's going to tell me that it can't be a future date from my policy. You'll enter in the time, you'll enter in the insured's name, you'll enter in who it was reported to, and you'll enter in the type of loss. So we'll go ahead and say hail, because here in Ohio we got quite a bit of it yesterday, and I'm sure that it's on its way to Pennsylvania for you guys today. So if you ever need the weather report, just call me. I'll let you know in a couple days in advance what it is that you guys will be getting. So once you enter that information in, again, the asterisk means things are required. The details for your loss, your cause of loss will be here. You can make a selection out of multiple items that are available. You do need to provide a short description. You can go ahead and hit that it is like the dwelling that we need to put the claim on. And then also, if it is damaged, you will need to click yes. The reason why you'll need to click this is because for first-party claims, it will go ahead and fill in some information for you. It will fill in the claimant information because the claimant on a first-party loss is usually our named insured, and so it will fill this in for you. I'm going to return to the claimant list. It will give us some information. These little triangles are just called warnings. They just want us to let us know that, hey, there's something else that you might need to do. And this is telling us that the notice is incomplete until we hit the submit button or hit complete and then hit submit. If you would happen to have to enter a new claimant in your action items, again, you can enter a new claimant, you can select first or third party, and then complete the claimant information to the best of your ability. Notice that only the name is required. We do not require any other information, just in case you don't have it, and I know that the insured will want to submit their claim as quickly and as in a timely manner as possible. We'll go ahead and hit our complete button. We'll go ahead and tell them that this is a new loss, and we'll go ahead and submit this claim. You'll notice here you can see the current owner. This is again our recent list where we've traveled the most, like in the past couple of days, like what we can see, like what we've been looking at. You can see that the new claims group has this. You can watch this and see like who has things, to see who has ownership of stuff, and so that you kind of know what the status of your policy, your quote, your loss notice may be. So once a new loss is obtained from the claims department, they will send a loss acknowledgement. This task is an automated task. Once they create the claim, this lets you know that there is a new claim and a new acknowledgement of a new loss for an insured. So you can go in and work that and view this particular loss. You can see in here the type of loss. You can view some of the details of the loss. So this will show you the coverages. It will show you what's going on with this particular thing. It will also show you the history. It will show you payments made. Also on here, when you look in here, when this particular claim is actually closed, but when you look in here, it will show you who the adjuster is on this file. And when your insureds get to a point where they submit a claim, you can go look in the claims area and then look at these items in the summary, the detail, the history, and the additional interest. All right. That was an awful lot of information. I am going to show you one more thing, and that actually is in the Lebanon Valley area once again, and this is called Make a Payment. And in Make a Payment, your insureds actually have the ability to come online and make their own payments. And if you type in a policy number, it will take you to our portal area to make a payment, and then they will need to register. They'll need to input their policy number. They'll need to input some additional information. The items that may be asked are zip code, the premium amount, their customer number. And one of the things that I want to mention about their customer number is where you can find it. You can find their customer number within the policy itself. If you go to the policy tab, you'll notice I'm clicking around kind of fast. You guys will be super fast at this by the time it's all said and done. So the customer number is at the bottom. It's identified as customer number, and this customer number is a unique identifier to that customer. So this customer, you can actually click on in the summary, and you can see that this particular customer only has one policy, but if you needed to quote a new policy for the same insured, you can have them keep the same policy number, or I mean not same policy number, you can have them keep the same statement account number, which means that they can have two policies on one statement, so that the billing could be a little easier for them.
Jenny, we have an agent asking where the agents would go to make a payment. Do they use that same spot, or do they log into SOAR and use the make a payment within SOAR?
The agents would log into SOAR within SOAR and make a payment within SOAR.
So if you guys want to sweep a payment to an account, you would actually need to log in. I don't know if any of you saw on the right-hand side of Mr. What was his name? Eduardo's policy. There was a make a payment button right on the right there, or left, sorry.
That's okay, on the left. Anytime you would want to make a payment in your office, if you as the agent are making the payment, you would need to enter into SOAR to make the payment through SOAR. The portal that I showed you, let me see if I can grab it back up. Nope. The portal that I showed you is for insureds only, so if the insured wants to go ahead and make their own payment and set up their account on the website, they're more than welcome to. They can go ahead and go in and make a payment. They can submit their own losses. They can request changes for endorsement, but any of those requests obviously will be sent to you first for your review.
Jenny, we have another question relating to the claims environment. Can you print a claim summary after submitting a new claim?
You can print out of here, but let me go to a claim, sorry. You can print this particular page, but there really is not much for you to print out. So you'll get to see the details in here, but you could click on this and then print this particular page if you want the claims detail and claims summary. Are there any additional questions, Jenna?
Right now, it doesn't look as though we have any additional questions. I did want to share with the group, though, with regards to the questions that we had on extended coverage and vandalism. The extended coverage is available for dwelling fire, vandalism is not, and sinkhole coverage, this is huge for people in the valley. Sinkhole coverage is included on the dwelling fire coverage form, so we're in luck there. If anybody has any additional questions, don't hesitate to ask now. I am still hanging out on the Q&A environment here. All right, here we go. Please clarify the coverage questions on VMM. Statement leads me to believe VMM is not available for any dwelling. I can double check on that, but it says extended coverage yes, VMM no, not on dwelling fire policies. So she did not limit it to vacants. So I am guessing that VMM is not available. Larry, I will double check on that.
Another comment came in to if you need to submit an endorsement, you would need to go into an active policy. You could go ahead and start a transaction. In this transaction area, you will be able to start an endorsement. You can select endorsement, hit select, and begin your endorsement process. You'll be able to tell us what effective date you want. You'll be able to start this. This will run through similar rules that your policy will. So if the endorsement changes to increase a value or something, it will run through that approval process again. If you are able to approve it, it will let you process your endorsement. If you are not able to approve it, it will go through the approval process to your underwriter.
Does anybody have any questions or anything that they want to see again or a little bit slower, anything that they, in the system features that we didn't go over? Jenny, did we hit everything on the agenda?
We did hit everything on the agenda, but I did want to show you a feature on the endorsement that, let's say you do need to go in and change a value of something, so we needed to increase this home to $250,000. We can go ahead and save that, and we'll see that our premium is $442, and it immediately shows us the premium difference. So this is a really nice feature when your insurers are saying, well, I would really like to increase this or add this. Can you tell me how much it is? And then if they accept it, then you can go ahead again and process by finalizing your transaction. Finalized transaction means that you will be either submitting it for approval or you will be finalizing it for endorsement. If they decide they don't want it, you can always delete it. This is a really good feature and good option too. So if you start something and they decide they don't want it, you can go ahead and hit delete and go ahead and hit OK. Are there any additional questions?
Cindy, does that answer your question for seeing an endorsement again? And then also for the group clarification, VMM is only not available on vacants. So it is available for dwelling fire. My apologies. So extended coverage and vandalism is available for dwelling fire. Extended coverage is available for vacants. Vandalism is not. Cindy is asking with regards to endorsements, where do you start the endorsement? Was it under actions on the left? So just one more time. We're going to start an endorsement here.
Yep, we'll start an endorsement. Actions are always on the left, so you will start a transaction. Your transaction options are listed here. You can also do renewal changes, so if they have something they want to change as their renewal, but they don't necessarily want to change now, you can do that. But you would go to transactions on the left, endorsement, and then select that as the starting process. Are there any additional questions?
We did get another question from an agent. Is vacant policy issued on admitted paper? And Bob, I'm going to call you out. We're an admitted company. Everything we do is on admitted paper. So if you guys are writing vacants on non-admitted markets, this is a great opportunity for you guys to build your book with us. We can offer this on an admitted basis, so you're also getting standard commissions. You're not getting any kind of E&S fees associated with writing vacants on non-admitted paper. So we're not going to be a market for every vacant policy, but definitely if you have those exposures in your office, if you're getting them as round out opportunities, please don't hesitate to call your underwriter on a case-by-case basis. We're happy to look at your vacant dwelling fire business. We have another question. Is sinkhole collapse coverage included in the policy quote, or does that need to be added? The way that it was worded here, it is included in the coverage form. So we should be good there. There's nowhere to actually add it. It's just going to be included in that property form. I can definitely clarify which coverage form it is, though, because I know that there's 3 different forms. You're welcome, Tammy. Are vacant policies annually, or can we get 3 or 6 month policies? Do we do short-term policies, Jenny? Do you know that answer?
The options that we have available for policy term are annual.
Okay. Yep, that answers the question. Then that was my understanding also, is that everything is going to be on an annual basis. If for some odd reason you need a vacant dwelling policy for a short term, you can always issue it annually and then rewrite it to either an occupied homeowners or a regular an occupied dwelling fire, tenant occupied. We can always cancel pro rata. We don't need to cancel short rate if you're replacing it with us, if that answers the question.
Another thing, since we're on the topic of cancellations, another item that I do want to mention is if they have a policy that they want to cancel, they can go in to the policy file, select policy attachments, and then there is a cancellation request in this information here, cancellation request. If they select this, and they upload the signed cancellation request, they can add it to this file, and a task will immediately be sent to the underwriter so that they know that a cancellation is pending. A cancellation request is pending.
Janet is asking if we have issue with PC9 or PC10. Janet, I will tell you it will probably kick out for an underwriting edit, but we write a lot of PC9 and 10 business, whether it's dwelling fire or otherwise. We're always going to be a little bit more cognizant of values when we start getting into unprotected property, but it is not going to be a straight no for unprotected property or values, but it will definitely be a discussion with your underwriter. So agents, account managers there right now listening, which it looks like you're all dropping off the call. But yes, the answer to that is we do not have an issue with PC9 or 10. We will underwrite. So if anybody has any other questions.
Sure. We will stay on for a couple more minutes for those who do have questions. Please feel free to ask away. I have some time, but it is a little after 11. I do apologize that we went a little over, but there was a lot of information to cover. And another thing that I did want to mention real quick is that in order for you to send information, if you want the system to pick it up, there is a send info at lebins.com that you can send an email and copy that email address, and that information will attach immediately into the policy, and we'll send that information out to you. And go ahead, Jenna, if there are additional questions, please let them ask away.
It doesn't look like there's any additional questions right now, unless anybody's holding out on a last-minute goodie. I am still waiting to verify whether or not sinkhole collapse is included in the DF1, 2, and 3 form. So if anybody's waiting for that answer and they want to hang on for a few minutes, I'm hoping she's been responding pretty quickly to me. So our program designer is hanging out on email for me. Any other questions? Oh, here we go. Thanks for the webinar. Nice job. Thank you for the questions. You did a great job.
Yes,
appreciate it, Larry. All right. Janet, you know what? I'm going to get your email address, and that way I can email you back an answer to that question. All right. It looks like people are starting to drop off, so hopefully no more questions.
Well,
Thanks,
we
Janet.
appreciate
Got
everyone's
it.
time. Thank you all so much for joining us, and we really appreciate your questions. If you have any questions that you didn't have an opportunity to ask while you were on here, please feel free to email us. We'll be happy to help you in any way that we can. Sure.
Here we go. Hold on. We got an answer from Carla here on the sinkhole collapse question. Janet, if you're still on, here you go. Sinkhole collapse is available on all 3 dwelling fire policy forms, so that's DF1, 2, and 3. Let's see. Peers, VMM. We encourage no VMM on dwelling fire vacant risks. If they want VMM, we will write them and ask them to write them commercially. So if you have a vacant dwelling fire that you want to add VMM on, I guess it's not a hard no, according to Carla. We can actually look at those on a package basis. We would keep them out of the dwelling fire program, though. So it's not a hard no, as with many things with our company. If anybody is interested in or has a need for a dwelling fire vacant risk with VMM, contact your underwriter and we can consider it on a package depending on what the circumstances are. So hopefully that answers that question. Janet, you got your sinkhole question answered. All right, does anybody have anything else? You're welcome, Janet. Oh, I love DJing the Q&A. This is so much fun, Jenny. I get the fun part.
I appreciate everyone's time, and I appreciate the engagement. I think that that's wonderful.
All right, I think we're done. People are dropping off. Thanks, everyone.
All right, sounds great. Thanks, everyone, for your time, and we appreciate you joining us. Have a great day.
Oh, Jenny, did you want to throw up the contact sheet in case anybody does have any lingering questions or wants their underwriter's email address or anything?
Yep, I'll throw it up, but we can go ahead and email this out, too. Whoops.
There you go. If anybody needs any contact info, it's out there.
We can send this out so that it also gives them a link if you want to.
Okay, great.
All right. Thanks, everyone, and have a great day.